Hello, this is Compound Interest Stock Guy. Today in this video, we're going to be talking about Boeing, ticker BA-AAPL, and we're going to be talking about crude oil. So today I traded Apple as well as Boeing. I sold Apple and I purchased Boeing via options contracts. So stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I talk a lot about commodities, cannabis, and I talk about these companies in the S&P 500. I talk about options. I talk about stocks. I look at charts, technical analysis. I've been doing this for over 2 years. I got over 400 videos. You can check out my channel. This is my channel right here. And, I just got videos all over. I have playlists as well. Live stream replays, financial report cards for all the cannabis companies, and I've also done it for a silver player. I've done commodity section conference calls for cannabis companies, Zenabis, the dark side, in my car in the dark, marijuana in the future, profitable cannabis companies, cannabis wraps. I got a couple of wraps, tier 1 extraction cannabis companies. And, hottest cannabis strains and budgeting and being aware of debt and revenue leaders. Like, this was a long time ago. So, anyways, let's get into this video, all right? So, the crude oil, I believe it's the lifeblood of the military-industrial complex. I learned that stuff from Greg Manarino. He's a very good YouTuber, and he's got over 120,000 subscribers. I just put my light on. My light went out, so I'm just have to get it set up, so bear with me. Alright, good to go. So the crude oil is the industrial. It's when crude goes up, the SPY goes up, but it hasn't been 100% fluid, just because there's been so much funny money in the system with the repo. I mean, I got this link. It's bookmarked repo and reverse. So, not that. Just give me another second. I'll get it. The link. So, repo and reverse operations. So, I've been tracking this for quite a few months, let's just say. So you look at this, okay, they do different things. Treasury and agency, they do repo reports, okay? So this is what's submitted and then what's accepted. So 11 billion. That's with the B right here. Now let's go down. They do a few operations. That's 3.15, so that's close to 14 billion. Then you got 16 billion, 30 billion. They haven't been doing as much repo operations now that they have quantitative easing. So quantitative easing, just funneling money into the system. There's just a whole lot of money, and all that money just gets sent to the big companies, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, and then they buy whatever they're connected. It's crazy. I'm not going to get into that, but let's get into Boeing. So with the crude and the bonds, just understanding the SPY and how things kind of work out in the market, it's very complex. And I mean, if you just follow the crude oil because it's being so funny, it's not necessarily a gauge. But when crude oil does go up, you're looking at the chart, and basically it's double bottoming 3 times. So it bottomed 3 times in a row, and now it wants to come up here. This is the SMA, and this is right here. So it wants to get to the bullish side of the Bollingers. So, $23, 24, and this is when Saudi Arabia and Russia did their thing right around here. And then it just boom, boom, went down here. So now we're coming into a new age. So, is it going to go back up to 30, 35, 40, 40? in the next couple weeks, couple months. Yeah, I think so. I think in the next 2 to 3 or 4 months, we're going to start seeing mid 30s, 40s potentially, but there's no guarantees, and crude could go down from here. So I mean, you just got to check your 30 minutes or your, like, look at that. I mean, realistically, it almost looks like it's going down. So this is just night times, but they are going to want to pump it up, so we'll see. Anyways, let's get to Boeing. So I bought Boeing right here. So this is kind of a long short-legged doji, medium-sized doji, I guess. And that's just indecision in the markets. BA ticker, Boeing. They do airplanes. They're connected with the military. They do stuff for the military. So they're big primary player in the Dow. So the Fed wants to pump up this company, right? So I'm just starting to see it's on the bullish side of the Bollinger's on the 5-hour candles. So I took a position right around here. Now after hours it closed, but this position's good till May 20th for 190 strike. So will it necessarily hit that? No, not necessarily. I mean, for all we know, it could go to 125, 120 tomorrow. If it drops down, who knows what's going to happen. But, if it goes down, we'll see. I'll play it by year, but I'm biased towards the upside right now. So, I'd like to see it go to 155, 165, 175. And, if it hits some resistance and then it's going to come back, then I'll sell my contract. And then I'll wait for the dip, and then I'll assess it by year. So Boeing, back here, this was on the bear side of the Bollinger's. This right around here, this would have been the time to buy. You don't want to be the first person to buy it when it starts coming down, right? Because a lot of people could be like, oh, well, this is the bottom. Oh, this is the bottom. This is the bottom. Because when you're looking at a Bollinger chart, you're only like you only see what's ahead of you, right? You don't see what's ahead of you. Right here, you can't be sure what the next move is. But when you're looking at it like that at the chart, you think, oh, that's the bottom. But that wasn't the bottom, right? I mean, still, it was pretty much the bottom. But what I'm saying is, though, from up here, like 150, 160, or 146, people could think, oh, well, that's the bottom. But it's not the bottom. It went down 50% from there. So you want to wait till this part of the in the Bollinger starts to kind of, take a U-shaped recovery. And or V-shape almost, but basically right around here, when it starts to come up, that's when you want to look at the position and be like, okay, right on. And right around here, and then it gapped up, and then when it starts getting outside the Bollinger's, that's when you want to get out of the position, because 90% of the time it's always in the Bollinger Bands. So anyways, let's that is Boeing, BA ticker. You look at the 5 minutes at the end of the day. It'll be interesting what's gonna happen. I'm hoping it just wants to push up to 150, 160, and gets the momentum the same way that it went from all the way up to here, right? So I'm thinking that's the most likely direction, especially if you go back to the 1 day. You start to see it's like this is a low, and then this is a low. So that's the way it looks. I mean, nothing's for certain besides death and taxes, but that's the way I look at Boeing. So let's move along to Apple AAPL. big company in the whole SPY. 1.2 trillion-ish market cap. Big juggernaut in the play. Nothing, everybody's got an Apple phone, so it's Apple, AAPL. So I've been pretty active. I play very small positions with Apple. Usually contracts anywhere from $100 to $300. The ones I pick up, I mean, you can spend $2,000 for contracts, like for different contracts, calls or puts. But the way I'm doing my trading, I'm trying not to spend too much money on the contracts. When I bought Tesla, when it was on a put, I spent about $1,200 and I turned it into $1,800 US. So, I'm not against paying that much for a contract, but I got to be damn sure. Now, this is on the 30 minutes on the candles, and this is when I bought it, right? So when I start to see this, it was coming up, and this is on the bull side of the Bollingers. So, it's just coming up along, and now the Bollingers are expanding, right? So this was I was looking at about like a 5-minute chart anyways, and it had a big candle at the end of the day. So I bought it pretty much at the close. I was just watching. I was just, just hawking it. So, and then the next day, gap up. So realistically, I should have been selling out somewhere here, but I didn't play it exactly perfectly, and I held it overnight. My intention, first off, so I can't really be mad at myself, and I think it could be very wealthy of a contract in the future, but you just never know, and it's nice to take profits as well. Nobody goes broke taking profits, and so that's basically so. But then when I start to see it go in this direction, then I said to myself, it looks as though it's going to come down or something like that. So I ended up selling it around here because I was thinking it was going to start coming back down to like 275. So, I think there's a potential for it to go back and fill that gap at 273. But, as sharing, I made about 100% on that contract, maybe like 80% contract, 290, and I think I sold it for $550. So $550, minus commissions of like $23. So you do the math. It was a pretty good trade, especially when I bought it, within 2 days, and it turned into that. I mean, it would have been similar to that. The best way to play that, I mean, can never be 100% certain, no matter if you're the best trader in the world, unless you're connected with the big institutions and you know what they're going to do, because they're the ones that are making the big moves. I'm not making the big moves. I'm just trying to make money on these big moves. So, but what you would want to do is you'd want to sell out right here and then buy put contracts. And then as soon as you buy put contracts, then the next day, then you sell out of your put contracts right here. And then you buy call options. And then you buy call options. And then you sell call options right here. And then you're good for the day. I mean, that would be bingo, bango, bongo. But, you're never going to be a magician. I mean, maybe over 20 years in this game, you're going to get to that level. And you may be less, I'm just saying, but you're not always going to be right. I mean, for all we know, if you would have done those put contracts, then, it could have went up to, 295, and then your contracts would really start to become worthless. When I say worthless, I mean, they decrease quite a bit in value. They can do that very fast, especially if the contract's short-term duration. So let's get to the SPY. So the SPY, okay. So the SPY, I mean, there's people that are telling you that, yeah, we should go into more cash because there's going to be a crash. So then we can get more of these Apple and all these other stocks. without really understanding the charts. So I'm here to say this, like, what was it, February? Back here, I was telling people one of the best investments back here was cash. Straight up, that's a good investment. Think about it. If you own lots of, S&P 500 has a beta of 1. Now, when you got other companies like Aurora Cannabis or who name it, they can have betas of like 3 or 4 or something like that. So they'll move 4 times the moves that the SPY moves. So, I mean, that's a good thing to look at with beta. I think Boeing's beta is around 2, so it moves about twice as much as the SPY. But, back here when it was 290-ish on the SPY, and then if you were to buy back here at the very bottom, that's 70 points. So, that's about 25% of, if you had a big, massive position, in the whole stock market, I mean, maybe you had a 1.25 million or something like that, you would save yourself a lot of money by that advice. Now, to get back into the market, you guys got to do your own stuff, and I'm not going to be there to tell you when to buy or sell. I've been systematically buying around here on contracts, and that's just how it's going. I mean, it's hard to hit the very bottom, but I'm assessing that things are starting to correct based on all the liquidity and the funneling of the money into the markets through QE. So, I mean, will there be another dip again? Absolutely. I mean, for all we know, this is just going to be another leg up, and then this is going to go down to like 150. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to take it day by day. Trade the market that you're in. That's what Greg Manarino says. So trade the market you're in. So this would be the ideal time to buy. I mean, this you're buying, but there's no guarantee that that's the bottom when you're buying it right there, right? For all we know, it could have gone down to 185, right? I mean, right here, you're buying it, but you're on the bear side, so it can still like come back down here. You buy it here. I mean, this is a good time to buy. Right around here, when you go from the bear side of the Bollingers to the bull side of the Bollingers, and then you're moving up. So you get your 252, and then you're up to here, 282. I mean, that's a pretty good move in a very short amount of time. So let's go to the weekly. So, it's coming up. This is the middle 300. I mean, yeah, there's going to be some pumps. I mean, it needs the big oil, but, I can definitely see for the end of the year going above the 338, high for the SPY. So, listen, things are going to get crazy, and that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Oh, yeah, if you're on Twitter, I mean, then, add me. I'm at Compound Stock 13. Follow me. Trying to get up to 420 followers on Twitter. I got a few people that are chatting me up. Talk to JG a lot. I talk to some other people as well here and there. They'll send me information. So I'm on Twitter quite a bit. So you can get on there. I mean, I don't do videos throughout the day or live streams or something like that. I got a lot of echoes. Some childs that live in the house in the mornings throughout the day. So I don't do any of that. But I'm always on Twitter, usually on the day. So you can check me out on there. I'm always doing stuff, and then I'll post all my videos there as well. And just different information that I'm doing, like I said, this stuff like back in BA 190 call May 20th, and or I said this is what I did, because I had sold. I had already I had done a contract before with Boeing as well, actually. I didn't actually announce that. So let's get back. I'll share that one. It's like somewhere around here, because it was on the bullish side, somewhere around here. Because I was thinking about it when it was like 137, but I wanted to make sure it was going to come up here. And then as soon as it got to about here or something like, I'm like, I got out of my position because it happened so fast. And then we had, it was coming back down here, and then it came back at the end of the day, and I decided to, get another position, a different contract. This was with a 170. So I said BA on the watch. Boeing military gets some heat at 143.5, very volatile stock. And, I had already bought in the position. I can't tell people what to buy for their contracts or not. I'm just telling you that, it did go up from there, right? It went up. So I was in maybe like at 142, I think, actually, for the contract. And it moved up very fast. And I bought it for $315. And within 17 minutes, I sold it for $415. So anyways, that's pretty much all I got to say. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And, keep compounding your info. Listen to my lingo. And shaka, ka, peace. I'm outie fo.